Oprah Winfrey, you know what you need to do. And stop hiding behind what you call was negative comments, what you call, oh, I don't even deal with things like that, because what people are beginning to do is see you for who you are.
What if I told you that the woman America calls the queen of all media, the billionaire who built an empire on kindness and inspiration, the same Oprah Winfrey who gave away cars and changed millions of lives, has a list of enemies in Hollywood longer than you could ever imagine? Today, we're counting down 15 black celebrities who've publicly called out, criticized, or straight-up feuded with Oprah Winfrey. 1. Monique. Let's kick things off with probably the most explosive feud on this list, Monique versus Oprah Winfrey. Now, if you've been following Hollywood drama, you know this one got messy. Monique, the Oscar-winning actress and comedian, didn't just criticize Oprah. She accused her of sabotaging her entire career. Here's what went down. Back in 2009, Monique starred in the critically acclaimed film Precious, which Oprah executive produced. Monique won an Academy Award for her performance, but things went south real quick. Monique claims that she was asked to promote the film overseas without additional compensation, and when she refused, Oprah, Tyler Perry, and director Lee Daniels allegedly labeled her as difficult to work with. According to Monique, this led to her being blackballed in Hollywood. But it gets even worse. Monique was furious when Oprah invited her estranged family members, including her brother, who had molested her as a child, onto her talk show without Monique's permission or even giving her a heads up. Can you imagine your own trauma being exploited on national television? Monique felt betrayed and used by someone she had trusted and looked up to. For years, Monique has been vocal about how Oprah's actions destroyed her career opportunities. She's called Oprah out multiple times on social media, in interviews, and during her comedy shows. The tension between these two powerhouses is real, and Monique has made it clear she's not backing down. She wants an apology and acknowledgement of the harm done to her career and her personal life. 2. 50 Cent Curtis. 50 Cent Jackson has never been one to bite his tongue, and when it comes to Oprah, he definitely had some choice words. The rapper and entrepreneur publicly called Oprah an Oreo, suggesting that she presented herself as black on the outside but catered to white audiences and white interests on the inside. Ouch, that's a serious accusation. 50 Cent's beef with Oprah stems from what he saw as her complete disregard for hip-hop culture and the artists who represent it. Despite hip-hop being a predominantly black art form that has shaped American culture for decades, Oprah rarely featured hip-hop artists on her show. When she did, it often felt like she was looking down on them or treating them with less respect than her other guests. The rapper claimed that Oprah turned her back on the black community by not supporting or acknowledging hip-hop culture, which has given voice to millions of black people worldwide. He felt that Oprah was more interested in appealing to her predominantly white, middle-aged female audience than in representing the full spectrum of black excellence and culture. This criticism really struck a nerve with many in the hip-hop community who felt the same way. 50 Cent also pointed out the hypocrisy of Oprah giving platforms to controversial figures while ignoring artists from his genre. He wasn't alone in this criticism, but he was definitely one of the loudest voices speaking out. The tension between 50 Cent and Oprah represents a larger conversation about respectability politics, cultural gatekeeping, and who gets to decide what represents the black community. Even today, years later, 50 Cent hasn't really softened his stance on Oprah, showing that this wasn't just a passing comment, but a deeply held belief about cultural representation and authenticity. 3. Whoopi Goldberg. This one might surprise you because Whoopi Goldberg and Oprah Winfrey both starred in the iconic 1985 film The Color Purple, directed by Steven Spielberg. The movie was a breakthrough for both actresses, but rumors have persisted for decades that their relationship behind the scenes was anything but sisterly. According to various Hollywood insiders, there was significant tension between Whoopi and Oprah during filming. Some reports suggest that Whoopi felt Oprah received preferential treatment from Spielberg and the production team, despite Whoopi being the more established actress at the time. Oprah was relatively new to acting, having come from a background in news and talk shows, while Whoopi was already gaining recognition for her one-woman shows and theatrical performances. The rumors suggest that professional jealousy and competition for screen time and attention created a rift between the two women. While neither has extensively confirmed these rumors publicly, their relationship over the years has appeared cordial but distant. They're not exactly calling each other up for girls' nights, if you know what I mean. What makes this particularly interesting is that The Color Purple was such an important film for black women in Hollywood. It should have been a bonding experience, but instead, it may have created lasting tension. Both women went on to achieve massive success in their respective careers, with Whoopi winning an Oscar and Oprah building a media empire. But that early experience on set may have set the tone for a relationship that never quite developed into the friendship many fans hope to see. The Color Purple connection between these two icons remains complicated, proving that even working on groundbreaking, culturally significant projects doesn't always translate to genuine friendship or mutual support in Hollywood. 4. Ice Cube. Ice Cube, the legendary rapper, actor, and filmmaker, has been candid about feeling snubbed by Oprah Winfrey throughout his career. Despite being one of the most successful figures to transition from hip-hop to Hollywood, Ice Cube claims he was never invited to appear on the Oprah Winfrey Show during its 25-year run. Let that sink in for a moment. Ice Cube has had an incredible career. He was a founding member of NWA, one of the most influential groups in hip-hop history. He starred in beloved films like the Friday franchise, Barbershop, Are We There Yet?, and many others. He's produced and written successful movies and created the Big Three basketball league. Yet, according to him, Oprah never saw fit to invite him on her platform. In various interviews, Ice Cube has expressed his frustration with what he perceives as Oprah's dismissal of hip-hop culture and its artists. He suggested that Oprah looked down on rappers and the culture they represented, viewing them as too controversial, too raw, or simply not respectable enough for her show. This felt like a personal rejection to Ice Cube, who has always been proud of his roots in hip-hop, while also proving himself as a multifaceted entertainer. What makes this particularly painful is that Oprah has interviewed countless celebrities from all walks of life, but consistently seems to avoid giving hip-hop artists their flowers. Ice Cube sees this as part of a larger pattern of respectability politics where certain black voices are elevated while others are marginalized. He's pointed out that the black community is diverse, and excluding hip-hop culture means excluding a significant portion of black expression and experience. Ice Cube's criticism of Oprah highlights the ongoing debate about who gets to represent black culture and which black voices are deemed acceptable for mainstream audiences. 5. Ludacris. Rapper and actor Ludacris had his own uncomfortable experience with Oprah that left a sour taste in his mouth. Back in 2006, Ludacris appeared on the Oprah Winfrey Show alongside the cast of the Oscar-winning film Crash. What should have been a proud moment for the rapper-turned-actor quickly turned into an ambush that Ludacris would never forget. During the taping, Oprah questioned Ludacris about his rap lyrics, specifically focusing on his use of certain words and explicit content in his music. The conversation was confrontational, with Oprah seemingly more interested in criticizing his music than discussing his acting achievements. Ludacris tried to defend his artistic expression and explain the context of his lyrics, but Oprah wasn't having it. She maintained a judgmental tone throughout the exchange. Here's where it gets really shady. When the episode aired, much of Ludacris's responses and explanations were edited out. Viewers only saw Oprah's criticisms and questions, but not his full answers defending himself. This made Ludacris look bad and gave the impression that he had no good response to her concerns. Can you imagine being set up like that on national television? Ludacris later revealed his frustration in interviews, explaining that he felt ambushed and misrepresented. He stated that he was only invited on the show because of his acting. Work, not to discuss his rap career, so the interrogation felt particularly unfair. The editing made it even worse because it didn't allow audiences to hear his perspective or understand the nuances of his artistic choices. This incident became another example of Oprah's complicated relationship with hip-hop culture. It reinforced the perception among many artists that Oprah viewed rap music as problematic rather than as a legitimate art form worthy of respect. Ludacris hasn't forgotten this experience, and it remains one of the more talked-about awkward moments in Oprah's interview history. 6. Janet Jackson. Janet Jackson's issues with Oprah center around one particularly sensitive topic: the Jackson family, specifically Michael Jackson's children. After Michael Jackson's death in 2009, Oprah conducted a highly publicized interview with Michael's children, which aired to massive ratings. But Janet was reportedly not happy about this. According to sources close to Janet, she felt that Oprah exploited Michael's children during a vulnerable time for ratings and publicity. The interview came at a moment when the Jackson family was still grieving and trying to protect the children from media scrutiny. Janet believed that Oprah took advantage of the situation to boost her show's viewership, rather than acting out of genuine concern for the family or the children's well-being. This wasn't just about one interview, though. Janet had already been wary of Oprah's relationship with her brother Michael. Over the years, Oprah had conducted interviews with Michael that some felt were more sensationalistic than supportive. The Jackson family has always been intensely protective of each other, despite their internal conflicts, and Janet saw Oprah's actions as crossing a line. The timing of the children's interview was particularly painful. The family was dealing with Michael's sudden death, legal battles over his estate, and intense media attention. Having Oprah insert herself into this situation, especially with the vulnerable children, felt exploitative to Janet. It appeared that Oprah prioritized getting the exclusive interview over respecting the family's privacy and healing process. Janet Jackson has generally maintained her dignity and hasn't engaged in public mudslinging. But those close to her have made it clear that she holds strong feelings about how Oprah handled matters related to her late brother and his children. This situation highlights the complex dynamics between media personalities and celebrities, especially when family tragedy becomes public entertainment. 7. Randy Jackson. Randy Jackson, Michael Jackson's brother and Janet's sibling, has been even more vocal than Janet about his issues with Oprah Winfrey. Randy has publicly criticized Oprah's handling of interviews and topics related to the Jackson family, feeling that she consistently misrepresented them and used their family drama for ratings. Randy was particularly upset about how Oprah approached the molestation allegations against Michael Jackson. He felt that Oprah gave a platform to accusers while not giving the same weight or respect to Michael's perspective or the evidence that supported his innocence. As someone who stood by his brother through those difficult times, Randy saw Oprah's coverage as biased and sensationalistic rather than balanced journalism. Beyond the molestation allegations, Randy has criticized Oprah for various interviews she's conducted with Jackson family members over the years. He believes she often tries to pit family members against each other or bring up painful topics purely for dramatic effect and higher ratings. This feels especially disrespectful to a family that has been in the public eye for decades and has dealt with immense scrutiny. Randy has also pointed out instances where he believes Oprah's coverage of black celebrities differs from how she treats white celebrities. He's suggested that Oprah is quicker to believe negative stories about black public figures and slower to defend them against unfair accusations. This ties into broader criticisms about Oprah's relationship with the Black community and whether she truly advocates for Black people or primarily serves her own interests. The Jackson family's relationship with Oprah remains complicated and strained. Randy continues to speak out when he feels Oprah has crossed lines or treated his family unfairly. His criticisms represent not just personal grievances, but also concerns about how media figures with enormous power can shape public perception of individuals and families, sometimes with devastating consequences. 8. Chris Brown. Chris Brown's relationship with Oprah became strained after his highly publicized 2009 assault on Rihanna. This is obviously a complicated situation because Chris Brown's actions were inexcusable and deserved condemnation. However, Chris felt that Oprah unfairly singled him out and continued to criticize him, even as he tried to rehabilitate his image and take accountability. According to Chris Brown, he had previously worked with Oprah on charitable initiatives and had a positive relationship with her. But after the Rihanna incident, he felt that Oprah turned on him completely. She spoke about him in interviews and on her show in ways that Chris felt were harsher than how she treated other celebrities who had been accused of similar or worse behaviors. Chris Brown has pointed out what he sees as a double standard in how Oprah addresses abuse and misconduct. He's noted that she maintained friendships with men who had been accused of various inappropriate behaviors, yet she seemed unwilling to show him any path toward redemption. While his actions were serious and wrong, he felt that Oprah's continued public condemnation made it harder for him to move forward and grow from his mistakes. This situation touches on a broader conversation about cancel culture, redemption, and accountability. Chris Brown has argued that he took responsibility, completed anger management, and tried to make amends. Yet Oprah continued to speak negatively about him years later. He felt this was unfair, especially given that she's shown compassion and second chances to others in similar or worse situations. It's worth noting that many people believe Oprah was right to take a strong stance on domestic violence and that Chris Brown deserved ongoing criticism. The tension between them represents larger questions about how society handles celebrity misconduct, who deserves forgiveness, and whether public figures should continue to be punished long after they've served their legal consequences. But the next one is probably the most controversial entry on this entire list. It involves the Harvey Weinstein scandal and accusations that Oprah knew more than she let on. 9. Seal. In 2018, singer Seal made headlines when he publicly called out Oprah Winfrey on social media, suggesting she was complicit in Hollywood's abuse culture. This came during the height of the Tatan Me Too movement and specifically in connection with the Harvey Weinstein scandal. Seal's accusations were bold and direct, and they shocked many people. Seal posted a meme on Instagram showing Oprah kissing Harvey Weinstein on the cheek with text suggesting that Oprah knew about Weinstein's predatory behavior but said nothing. The implication was clear. Oprah, despite positioning herself as a champion for women and abuse survivors, had allegedly turned a blind eye to one of Hollywood's most notorious predators because of her business relationships and social connections. The timing of Seal's post was significant because it came right after Oprah's powerful Golden Globe speech about speaking truth to power and supporting women who had been abused. Many praised the speech, but Seal saw it as hypocritical. He essentially accused Oprah of knowing about Weinstein's behavior for years, along with many other Hollywood elites, yet remaining silent until it was safe and popular to speak out. Seal's criticism raised uncomfortable questions about complicity and accountability in Hollywood. How many powerful people knew about predatory behavior but said nothing? Did Oprah's close relationships with powerful men in Hollywood compromise her principles? And if she did know, why did she wait so long to speak out? Oprah hasn't directly responded to Seal's specific accusations, but the incident damaged her reputation among some who began questioning her authenticity. Seal stood by his criticism, refusing to back down even as Oprah's supporters defended her. This controversy highlighted the complex dynamics of power, privilege, and accountability in Hollywood, and showed that even someone as respected as Oprah isn't immune from serious criticism about her actions or inactions. 10. Rachel Ray. Now, this entry is a bit different because the details are disputed, but the rumor was so widespread that it's worth discussing. According to various reports and gossip sites, celebrity chef Rachel Ray allegedly made harsh comments about Oprah Winfrey regarding race and behavior. However, the specifics of these comments have never been fully confirmed, and Rachel Ray has denied making explicitly racist remarks. The rumors suggested that there was tension between these two daytime television powerhouses, possibly stemming from professional competition or personal disagreements. Some reports claimed that Rachel Ray made comments about Oprah's race and success that were inappropriate or insensitive. These allegations spread through entertainment blogs and gossip columns, creating a narrative of bad blood between the two women. What makes this situation interesting is how rumors can take on a life of their own in the entertainment industry. Even though Rachel Ray denied the most serious allegations, the story persisted in certain circles. It highlights how easily misinformation can spread and how difficult it can be for celebrities to completely shake off negative rumors, even when they're disputed or false. The alleged feud, whether real or exaggerated, also points to the competitive nature of daytime television. Both Oprah and Rachel Ray built successful brands in this space, and any perceived tension between them became fodder for media speculation. The rumor mill loves a good catfight narrative, especially between successful women. While this entry might be the least substantiated on our list, it's included because the rumors were persistent enough to create a perception of conflict between Oprah and Rachel Ray. It serves as a reminder that not everything we hear about celebrity feuds is necessarily true, and sometimes the drama is more about gossip and speculation than actual facts. Still, the fact that such rumors gain traction says something about how people perceive Oprah and her relationships with other celebrities. 11. David Letterman. David Letterman and Oprah Winfrey had a long-standing, well-documented feud that played out over the years on late-night television. This wasn't just rumor or speculation. These two actually had legitimate beef. And David wasn't shy about making jokes at Oprah's expense on his show. The feud reportedly started in the late 1980s when Oprah appeared on Letterman's show and the interview didn't go well. Some sources say Letterman's humor didn't land well with Oprah, while others suggest there were off-camera disagreements about how the interview was conducted. Whatever the initial cause, it created a rift that lasted for years. Throughout the 1990s and early 2000s, Letterman frequently made jokes about Oprah on his show. He would poke fun at her show, her success, her weight, and various aspects of her public persona. Some of these jokes were relatively harmless comedy, but others crossed lines and felt more mean-spirited than funny. Oprah, for her part, seemed to avoid Letterman's show entirely, not appearing as a guest for over a decade. What made this feud particularly interesting was that it represented a clash between two titans of television. Letterman dominated late night, while Oprah ruled daytime. Both were incredibly powerful in the entertainment industry, yet they couldn't seem to get along. The public nature of their conflict gave audiences a front-row seat to a real Hollywood feud. Eventually, the two reconciled in 2005 when Oprah finally appeared on Letterman's show again. They addressed their years of tension, made jokes about it, and seemed to bury the hatchet. However, that doesn't erase the many years of public jabs and genuine animosity between them. Their feud remains one of the most well-known conflicts in television history, proving that even the most successful people in entertainment can have lasting disagreements with their peers. 12. Roseanne Barr. Roseanne Barr, the controversial comedian and former sitcom star, has publicly criticized Oprah Winfrey multiple times over the years. Roseanne's issues with Oprah involve both political differences and personal grievances, and as you might expect from Roseanne, she hasn't held back in expressing her opinions. Roseanne has accused Oprah of being divisive and using her platform to push certain political agendas rather than truly uniting people. Given Roseanne's own controversial political stances and her support for various conspiracy theories, her criticism of Oprah often reflects broader ideological conflicts. She's suggested that Oprah presents herself as unifying and inspirational while actually promoting division along racial, political, and class lines. Beyond politics, Roseanne has criticized Oprah's approach to celebrity and media power. She's accused Oprah of being part of the Hollywood elite that looks down on working-class Americans and regular people. Roseanne, who has always positioned herself as a voice for the working class despite her own wealth, sees Oprah as representing a different, more elitist version of success. Roseanne has also made comments about Oprah's weight and personal life over the years, some of which crossed into mean-spirited territory. This reflects Roseanne's often controversial approach to comedy and public commentary, where few topics are off-limits and sensitivity isn't a priority. The tension between these two represents a larger cultural divide in America. Oprah is generally seen as a mainstream inspirational figure who appeals to a broad audience, while Roseanne has positioned herself as an outsider, willing to say controversial things that others won't. Their mutual criticism reflects these different approaches to celebrity, politics, and public influence. While Oprah typically doesn't engage with critics like Roseanne publicly, the comedian has continued to speak out about her issues with the media mogul. Their conflict is less about personal interactions and more about what they represent in American culture and entertainment. 13. Joan Rivers. The late Joan. Rivers, known for her brutally honest and often offensive comedy, had plenty to say about Oprah Winfrey over the years. Joan was never one to hold back, and Oprah became a frequent target of her jokes and criticism. While some of this was comedy, there seemed to be genuine criticism beneath the humor. Joan Rivers criticized Oprah's weight publicly and repeatedly, making jokes about Oprah's fluctuating size in her stand-up routines and television appearances. In today's climate, these jokes would be considered body-shaming and inappropriate, but Joan's comedic style was always boundary-pushing and controversial. Beyond the weight jokes, Joan also questioned Oprah's authenticity. One of Joan's more serious criticisms was that Oprah exploited people's suffering for entertainment and ratings. Joan accused Oprah of bringing people on her show to share their most painful stories and traumatic experiences, not to genuinely help them, but to create emotional television that would keep audiences coming back. This is a pretty harsh accusation, suggesting that Oprah's empathy and concern were performative rather than real. Joan also criticized what she saw as Oprah's hypocrisy. She pointed out instances where Oprah judged others while having her own controversies and questionable decisions. Joan felt that Oprah positioned herself as morally superior while being just as flawed as anyone else in Hollywood. The conflict between Joan Rivers and Oprah represents a clash between two very different approaches to entertainment. Joan believed in saying whatever she wanted without filters or political correctness, while Oprah built her brand on empathy, inspiration, and careful cultivation of her public image. Joan saw through that cultivation and wasn't afraid to call it out. While Joan's criticism was often delivered as comedy, there was a bite to it that suggested real disapproval. She remained critical of Oprah right up until her death in 2014, never softening her stance or apologizing for her harsh words. 14. Angelina Jolie. Angelina Jolie's conflict with Oprah Winfrey is less public than many others on this list, but it's still significant. According to various reports, Angelina and Oprah had a disagreement regarding a girls' school project, which led to Angelina refusing to work with Oprah on the initiative. Both Angelina and Oprah have been heavily involved in philanthropic work, particularly focused on education and women's empowerment in developing countries. Oprah famously opened her Leadership Academy for Girls in South Africa, a project she was deeply passionate about. There were reportedly discussions about Angelina potentially collaborating with Oprah on educational initiatives for girls in Africa or other regions. However, according to sources, Angelina and Oprah had fundamental disagreements about how such projects should be run. The specific details of their disagreement have never been fully disclosed publicly, but it was serious enough that Angelina decided not to move forward with any collaboration. Some reports suggest the disagreement was about control, approach, or philosophical differences regarding how to best help the communities they wanted to serve. This situation is interesting because both women are known for their humanitarian work and commitment to helping others, especially young women and girls in disadvantaged situations. The fact that they couldn't find common ground suggests either strong personalities, different visions, or perhaps conflicts about who would receive credit or control over any joint project. Unlike some of the other entries on this list, this feud hasn't played out dramatically in public. Both Angelina and Oprah have maintained professionalism and haven't publicly badmouthed each other. However, the fact that they were unable to work together despite shared goals speaks to underlying tension or incompatibility. This entry reminds us that not all celebrity conflicts are loud and dramatic. Sometimes, successful, strong-willed people simply can't collaborate effectively, even when they're working towards similar goals. 15. Kid Rock. Kid Rock, the rapper-turned-rock musician known for his controversial statements and unapologetic attitude, has thrown shade at Oprah Winfrey multiple times over the years. Kid Rock's criticism of Oprah reflects his outsider status in the entertainment industry and his disdain for what he sees as Hollywood elitism and pretentiousness. Kid Rock has publicly criticized Oprah's influence and what he perceives as her attitudes towards certain types of entertainers and fans. He suggested that Oprah looks down on working-class Americans and the kind of music and entertainment they enjoy. As someone who has always positioned himself as a voice for regular folks against the Hollywood establishment, Kid Rock sees Oprah as representing everything wrong with celebrity culture. He's also criticized Oprah's political influence and her endorsements of various candidates and causes. Kid Rock, who has been vocal about his conservative political views, disagrees with many of the positions Oprah has taken publicly. He's accused her of using her platform to push agendas that don't align with the values of many Americans, particularly those in rural and working-class communities. Beyond politics, Kid Rock has made comments suggesting that Oprah is inauthentic and calculated in how she presents herself to the public. He's implied that her empathy and concern for people are acts designed to maintain her brand and influence rather than genuine care. This kind of criticism attacks the very foundation of Oprah's public persona. Kid Rock's issues with Oprah also tie into broader cultural divisions in America. He represents a segment of the population that feels dismissed or looked down upon by coastal elites and Hollywood figures. In his view, Oprah is part of that elite group that doesn't understand or respect the values and lifestyles of millions of Americans. While Kid Rock is controversial in his own right and many people dismiss his opinions, his criticism of Oprah resonates with certain audiences who share his skepticism about celebrity culture and media influence. What do you think? Is Oprah deserving of these criticisms, or are these celebrities just bitter about their own situations? Let us know in the comments below, and if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more celebrity drama, insider stories, and entertainment news. Hit that notification bell so you never miss an upload.